Maria Lialina, together with Daniel Garcia Duca and Vuk Kosic, who are also joining us, are the so-called pioneers of net art. She's nowadays, besides of that, teaching at the Metz Academy in Stuttgart, New Media Art. She's working on subject and context of digital folklore and the web vernacular, and I have the impression that this is a little bit the context also of her presentation tonight. Also, she was involved in a big conference, much bigger than this one, which I like to mention because when we were planning this one, I was thinking about this with a little envy. It was called the Make World Festival, and it was very shortly after the 9/11, and it was all about the question of surveillance and things like this. So when, from today's perspective, there is this so-called scandal about NSA, I was thinking that at this time already this was a big issue. So this whole context of surveillance is actually not a new subject, but today it's about GeoCities and plotting.
Thank you very much. Am I loud enough like this? Yeah, thank you very much. It's a pleasure and honor to introduce a project for you today. I'm a net artist, meaning I'm usually hanging, swinging under the location bar of your browser, attracting with all my existence, attracting attention to the interface, to the browser, to connection, to everything what industry tries to make invisible. I'm also teaching interface design and new media, but of course I'm an artist, so there is a big part of it, what I bring to students is very medium aware, so it is the net art, the ideals and also the tactics and strategies are very important to be negotiated, to be brought to next generations, and in general I'm working on bringing all the aesthetics and new aesthetics of the web together in my artistic work. But today I am going to talk with you about probably the main project that I am involved in the last 3 years, and because we are also at the conference that is called Open Library, let me start by showing to you my library. This is one shelf. It's quite a dense shelf of quite unique books. One can say, yeah, you can say on one hand unique, on another maybe you would say, I have them something like this, maybe not them all, but a lot of them, and they are already somewhere in basement or in the back boxes. So many of them I bought for 30 cents on Amazon. Some of them, I should say, already cost more than $100, though in time then they were published, they costed like $10. Yeah, so there is something to also to discuss here. But yeah, what are all these books? All these books are, so to say, these are manuals. This is not a theory at all. These are mostly manuals from the started from 92 till 2002 in my collection. They all explain how to make web pages, how to deal with your browser, with your email client, what is the internet, what is the World Wide Web, and so on. I have with me, always have with me some, for example, creating GeoCities web pages. I can give it now to the public, but please promise to me to give it back. Or something very special, creating killer websites. This book was important for a lot of amateurs and actually the first professionals of the web design. But in general, I should say that the interesting things about these books and these manuals is that usually people would not read them. And it's a very good it's a great thing that these books were not really read. They were written by people who were observing the web and who were trying to explain to the early users that you should make it differently, not like you do it. But fortunately, they were not really heard. So should I pass it to the public, or am I the only one who is interested in this? I'm also the author of this book, together with Dragan Espenshik, Digital Folklore. This book is about early web culture, about vernacular web, and what it manifests the production of the users online, and states that digital folklore as a phenomenon should belong to the users and not to the hackers and developers. Then why all these books there? Because why I collect and why I read them? Because my work is to deal with the web that looks like this. Yeah, this is an old web page. You can see, I think, clearly, immediately that this page is not made in 2014 and not in 2004, yeah, and maybe not even in 2000, that it belongs to last century, so all the elements are there. It's a screenshot, it's not animated, yeah, but you can imagine that all the stars there in the background, they are blinking, and the sign open 24 hours is rotating and also glowing. So another thing about this page now here, that it's not just an old web page. If you look at the address, you see that this is a GeoCities web page. So GeoCities, can I ask if somebody ever had a profile on GeoCities?
Yes.
You? Nobody else? Do you miss your profile?
Yes, it's gone. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because I didn't realize that they were closing, and it was gone.
Yeah, exactly. This is the story. Maybe you could also tell this story now. But I will start. So GeoCities was a free web hosting service, started 20 years ago in 1994. But it was a bit too early, so the first real web pages started to appear there in 95, almost, yeah, something like 20 years ago. GeoCities was something what at that time I wouldn't go to. Yeah? I would not make my profile on GeoCities, never. I would not, if there would be links sent to me to GeoCities, I would like make some funny face. And I think if at that time you would tell me that 20 years ago, 20 years later, I would stay here with the GeoCities page opened on the big screen, I would say that this woman is not me. Yeah. Maybe she has the same glasses, but somebody stole it from her. Because GeoCities, you know, it was for general public, for mainstream, also let's say not design mainstream, but in general the web public. It was the lowest place to go, the lowest place to make your profile. It was a quintessence, is it a German or English word? Quintessence, like the essence of all this kitsch, amateur style, and everything what was seen as how you should not make the web at that time. And you know what is also interesting, for example, that all these books, yeah, that criticize how the web is made and given examples how it should be made better, they don't mention GeoCities as well. This is very strange. They're from the same time, but only once, and I looked through them all, of course, except making GeoCities web pages. Yeah? It's all about GeoCities. But it only in this book, Web Pages That Suck, it only have, and only there is only once. Yeah, you can see GeoCities screenshot. So it was really like something neglected by everybody everywhere. So let me go here. So what's that? My next one? Okay. bit later I come to this gentleman, but maybe let's keep him. Right now I will immediately mention that Jason Scott. Here you can see Jason Scott and my partner Dragan. So these are two important people to mention in connection to this project, because GeoCities were closed, were shut down in 2009 by Yahoo. First, probably I have to mention that they were bought in 1999 by Yahoo in some .com rush and enthusiasm. So Yahoo bought GeoCities. Of course, then it's very soon they understood that there is nothing to do with GeoCities, and they made a lot of also bad things to the communities about interface and about structure, about anything. So, but anyway, in 2009, they said that they shut it down and they gave half a year to the users to rescue their profiles. At this moment, Jason Scott, who is a person, the most, like he calls himself mascotting of archive team. So he and a lot of other people put together all the computing power and scripting power and rescued everything what was possible to rescue. So archived everything. It came as a torrent. Torrent was, you can see how big was the torrent, 641 gigabytes. So this is a compressed terabyte of early web pages. So we started to download this torrent. When we did the start, now I already forgot, I don't remember where we started, but it's what you see here. Ah, yeah, exactly. And this what we see now. Why too late? It was exactly when it was released, the torrent.
No, it's just that it's the birthday.
Today is the anniversary. You should have a drink.
Today?
Yeah, happy birthday, dear torrent. Yeah, but it took ages because, as I understand it, there was only one seeder, yeah, and it's for so many gigabytes, so it took a lot of time to download all these files. And of course, it was not a network anymore. It was a system that had to be repaired. And this is one of Dragan's draft. This is the first what he managed to do out of it. Here you can see very good already what is the structure of GeoCities. There were neighborhoods and there were vanity profiles. Neighborhoods is a classic thing about GeoCities. People were making their pages in particular neighborhoods. So if you want to make X-Files page, you go to Area 51. If you are a cross-dresser, you go to West Hollywood. Yeah, but it does not mean that you must do it. There are a lot of X-Files pages in West Hollywood neighborhood as well. And then Yahoo in July 1999, it abandoned this system and went to vanity profiles. Vanity, you mean you register your name. Yeah? And this is how it goes. So the next file, yeah, so here Dragan shows in this file how he fighted all this, what he calls symbolic link cancer. So instead of 50 millions of files, it was scaled down to 40 millions of files. And then in the end, we had to calculate how many profiles, not files, but profiles we have. We have 400,000 user profiles in our archive. It is, how to say, it's of course, we don't know how much were there. There is no statistic, and Yahoo would not tell it because they don't know it as well. So we don't know how much was lost, how much was rescued, because it was exactly the effort that's the best effort archiving, so to say. Yeah? There was no precedence, and what was saved, what was rescued was rescued. Yeah. First, let me please go to my links. So, Dragan repaired the archive, incredible work. And for example, I have it here now. We have folder after folder, profile after profile. This is my mobile version, but it's not the interface. And in the beginning, how we deal with it, so we had this, we had folders, and then I would go, for example, from folder to folder, or just just was visiting it randomly and looking what was going on. But there was no, I didn't know how to, there was no system after it. It was also like the best effort of consulting the record, of taking things out of it. Just shortly, maybe, no, I will skip it till the moment. I wanted to, of course, I wanted to, I can talk for ages about it myself, but let me quote here Jason Scott, who explained once, because he also had to answer many times about why, what for, to keep all this. And there is a great phrase he was explaining at a personal digital archiving conference already in 2011. I think what they lost was that GeoCities arrived in roughly 1995 and was for hundreds of thousands of people their first experience with the idea of a web page, of a full-color, completely controlled presentation of anything they wanted. For some people, the potential audience was greater for them than for anyone in the entire history of their genetic line. It was to these people breathtaking. City Rebuild I showed to you. This is a very nice but quite a rare example of somebody who visited his profile before deletion and made this farewell message. Usually we deal with profiles that are just left there a long time ago and or never visited again. Now maybe let me go here. And this is a bit different project. This is my collection of clear GIFs. I collect such empty 1-to-1 pixel GIFs that were used in the early web for making layouts. Because you can stretch the transparent image and you arrange things around it. When you don't have CSS or you don't know CSS, you can do it like this. It was an important element. And it was, can you see, you can see the status bar. Let me try to go here. Do you see this thing here? It's a pixel GIF, yeah? And do you see that this is GeoCities? Yeah? The thing was, the cruelty or the senselessness of all this action was that, in fact, Yahoo shut down GeoCities, but it didn't delete it because they needed some space, yeah? They just closed it. All these files are still there. And many of them are still available because they are needed, for example, for GeoCities in Japan, which is still on. And some templates, such elements as clear GIFs and so on. So they are not, and recently, it was a month ago, so it is 5 years later, Yahoo made a new cleanup. It shut access to the next portions, to the next portion of files. This is just for your information. So, City Rebuild, I showed to you how it works. We have this hard disk with the files. I hope it will not work now. The video is always very impressive to show to you the blinking lamps, as because I want to show to you that we can now. This is at University of Freiburg. These are our slots there at the supercomputer there. That's the slots that are the power that is processing or indexing and this and that of the data we have. Because it's not the only thing to keep it, the thing is to retrieve things and to analyze them and to work with them. And then there is something, some interesting trick was made. Again, this would have to be, it is credited to Dragan and would have to be explained by him. Dragan's famous screenshot factory. So he made a system that would take the first, it's explained here, it's also explained online in our blog, the system that would make a screenshot of the first web page, 800 to 600 of the website, would put it inside the Netscape browser or later in Internet Explorer browser, and would post it to our archive and would post it to the Tumblr. Another, Dragan has a very interesting explanation, and this is his chart that shows this relation in between authenticity and access. Yeah? How authentic you want to have a thing, whatever it is, but website, we're talking about website, and how difficult it will be to access it. And as you see, the easiest to access, but the less authentic is, of course, it would be a screenshot. Yeah? But this is what we have right now, and with what we are every day, since almost 2 years, feeding the internet, the World Wide Web. So we have 1 terabyte each Tumblr that every 20 minutes posts a screenshot of the web page from our archive. Now we are in 14th of July 1999. It means that this particular page was last updated on this date. It was not created on this date. It was last visited, last updated. What we started, it was, when we started, it was in February 2013. We started with pages that were last updated in 95. Now it's 99. Every 20 minutes there is a new screenshot. We could have it more open, but Tumblr has limitations. It can only, there can be only 72 pictures posted on Tumblr a day. So 3 every hour. So this is, so we have material for 11 more years to feed the Tumblr. The irony is, of course, that Tumblr is now bought by Yahoo as well. So there is we should already start to download our Tumblr as soon as possible. It was really...
Tumblr as such. All of Tumblr.
Yeah, probably all of them. And all of Yahoo. Because it's clear what they would do next. Yeah, so this is it's an amazing experience for us and for people who are following us. If I open it here, you would see how others see it. What did I want? And some statistics. Like we almost have 17,000 followers. At this moment, this page is really rocking, so people are retweeting, how is it called? Leave notes and favorite and reblog it. There was something this in the last 7 days. I can show to you the example. Very special page. Was there? Look at this. I thought I tweeted it. I made it when I saw it. I tweeted, so thanks God there was no Twitter in 1999. Otherwise, we would never get this page. Yeah? And there are so many examples where you see that now people, so many messages or whatever, that now you see that people would not dare to create a web page for such a thing. And at that time, you were making it. You were making this effort. So this is how people see it. You just can, you see what's next, you see when it was updated, and you can't go here, because for you it's done, yeah? It's only, I don't know what they are thinking about themselves. This is what they introduced months ago. Before it was just a page not found, page doesn't exist anymore. And now they are advertising again their hosting service, yeah? When you go to the, it's incredible hypocrisy. So this is how others see it, and this is how I see it. I use the Tumblr as an interface for the research. I see this page, and I can tag it. Because of course I have a collection of X-Files pages, because I have here an add-on installed that immediately connects me to the research database. And in general, that when I can, so this is now in Freiburg, all the database and interface and indexing. This is the research. This is how I can see and access the pages. And there is quite a complicated, maybe for somebody who doesn't know system. I will go to Hansen. I just click now to something what is has not so many to have indexing faster. So I see I see the screenshot. I can continue. I can go to the page. I can see all the statistics. I can tag it again. And what's the most precious thing? If I go there, I am in the world where, as if GeoCity is, where am I now? Probably did I remove my proxy or what? Yeah, I clicked to this. So I see, for me, I live in a great world, yeah? For me, GeoCities are still up. For me, more to it, I live in the world where I live in general, at this moment I live in July 1999. I look every day, I try to look not less than at 72 pages in order not to be too late, in order to keep in pace with the archive, with the Tumblr. Otherwise, there is no time for anything. The interesting thing can be, what other effort? Okay, this is a great and it is a successful project. We're very happy about it because people see it, people forward it, and it spreads and it doesn't die like this. Of course, as people who are interested also in restoration, this all is a bit not enough for us. We are restoring the pages, and we have also make an effort to make it as at least the videos, because it's very important to see animation, right? It's very important to see animation of these pages, and let's be honest, it's very important to hear the sound of these pages. It's a collection now of pages. Yeah, this was now the, it was a trailer For our skywriting project, we selected pages with this very special welcome sign, where the airplane is writing welcome, and took this 5 seconds of this animation and put together all the 183 pages from the archive that we found. So, so it goes on and goes on. How much time do I still get? I have a bit, yeah? Okay, so, yeah, then something else. These videos, they are quite difficult to produce because it's not so easy to make them great quality, to show it on a huge screen when it is about pixel graphics, but it's possible, yeah? And you should never give up and say, if you're working with this, all these screen graphics, it's only for small screens. The things can be printed and shown on the big screens. For example, look at this now. Look how crisp old web page can look on the glossy. If you know how to scale low resolution pixel graphics correctly. And this is something, if you are designers, you should learn to do it. So this is one thing. Yeah, this videos is one thing, but I'm also making another type of videos. I make, so to say, close-ups and put them on Vine. First of all, also to spread it among other audience, but then also to have this sound, which is very important for me. And I like this combination of old MIDIs and this 6-second limitation of Vine. It creates now the new acoustic landscape, and I can listen. Maybe as a GIF model, I'm just very much into loops, so I'm. These are original soundtracks, so to say, of course. So there's, if you follow me on Vine, you will get several of such things a day. If you follow me on Twitter, you will also deal with a crazy woman who is on one hand just informing you about what am I doing in real life, yeah? And at the same time there are all the time quotes from the pages that I'm reading right now. And I always take quotes for Twitter where people are explaining why they're making a web page, or excusing, or telling about their great plans. Yeah, you should just wait and it will come. And so I bring it in circulation. Yeah, because I all the time want to share what's going on in 99, for example. This was so beautiful yesterday. I'm Josh and I'm building this page to have some fun. My life is boring. If it was not for the internet, I would die of boredom. And
he died.
He didn't die. What is great now? Yeah. Do you know who Patrick Ewing is? It's not a founder of Twitter, but a co-founder. It's a main programmer from the very beginning. Yeah. So it's you know that it's people still feel the same, but they just use other media to express their boredom. Where was I? Where is my ethiopet? Yeah. Good. So there is Vine, there is Twitter, and yeah. But of course, this is just because I can't keep all this for myself. But there is of course the work that is more concentrated work. I am categorizing things, and I am observing, so to say, what was going on and look at the trends, things that were not clear for me before, not from my own experience from the early web, and from my research that was going on before I started to look at the GeoCities. And one of my main obsessions are pages like this, that I call them, I have a tag for them, take your time, because it started for me with announcements where people were saying, give me some time, yeah? Where people clearly ask to give them some time to finish the page, or they promise that there will be something great just in some time. Sometimes it would be like the real date would be there. I don't know, the most often idea that you will manage it, it is in 2 weeks. I don't know, people give themselves 2 weeks and then they never come back. Some say, some write, soon summer holidays will start, I will do it. Others would say, soon school will start, I will do it. Yeah, but there is this promise and, but these are dead pages. They are not because Yahoo killed them, but because people never came back to them. And it's quite different to the very known motif, which is just under construction. Yeah? This we all know because it had such an under construction sign, had a great comeback. I'm more talking about the very narrative paragraphs and intentions where people explain how it will be and what it will be. There are many. I also have a tag which is called defensive, because there's very, people are not sure why they are doing it. And then simultaneously with this, there is another trend, and that I call it exodus. That people are announcing, that's all, we are leaving. Yeah, it's over. Pink slip. Like something like this, because of what particular reasons. This is something, what is happening right now, in July 1999. People are closing and moving their profiles, because on the 6th of July 1999, Yahoo announced the new terms of services. They announced that now all the copyrights belong to Yahoo. And there were incredible protests and closures and things like this, verbally and also in images. But most of all, it's we have announcements like this where people just say we are moving to another service. Because there was also Tripod, there was also Angelfire, there was this and that, and people of course were registering their own domains. And so many things were happening, but this motive that somebody is leaving and all this together, you know, one page, the promise that that soon there will be the page and the next there will be never page again here on this case, this all makes me even more crazy than already am. We still have 3 minutes. Look at this too. Frames or no frames. Early web users were very busy with this thought. Yeah? What resolution page should have? Should it have sound or not? And in what language I make it, in German or in English or in both? But the main question that was not answered but left to the end user was frames or no frames, yeah, this particular technology. And by this we have an incredible collection of entry screens where this choice is given to the users. And this especially, okay, now you have a choice, yeah, frames or no frames. And then there's a lot of things I could show, of course, and talk about, but let me finish with this one because it's so good now boxed together with the scanner and the culture of scanning. I have here only one screenshot, but I do collect quotes, because it's not always on the screenshot, yeah? We only have on screenshots 800 to 600. A lot of things there below and on the next pages. all these great quotes about the scanner, where people are waiting that soon scanner will appear, or they are complaining about their scanner, or whatever, but you could, of course you understand, yeah, it's not a big thing to understand that at that time you didn't have digital camera, obviously, maybe you would scan a picture. But then, after you see it so often and read it so often, you understand that making a web page was a big motivation at that time to digitize something, yeah? To digitize whatever you had in an analog form. And this is one of the very interesting, one of the phenomena that you can get from there. And last remark, very simple remark about the thing what you can see there on the wall, the P-man. This is the P-man is not usually so big like you can see there on the wall. It is a tiny graphic. And this graphic was used by GeoCities users, and not only by GeoCities users, but we have now access to what GeoCities users made with it. It was used to P on the things they hated, or they didn't like, they want to protest. Of course, among them would be also GeoCities, MTV Simpsons. Sometimes it would be just decorative, sometimes real anger. People hated Netscape, people hated Explorer, Apple and Microsoft, but most of all, as we found out now, they hated Ford. Yeah, from what we had, we don't know. I'm not competent enough to analyze it and to give comments, but this is what our big data research. It is not, by the way, all this has nothing to do with the big data, with algorithmic tool and algorithmic procession of information. Also because early web users didn't make anything semantic or clean, and it is not possible by algorithm to find out what P-man was pinned on, because it could be, you can't just look for the picture next to P-man picture, because you don't know how P-man was, what was the file name, and you don't know will it be in the table, will it be after the break, and so on. So all this has to be made by human eyes, and I'm very happy now that in the last weeks students were helping me to find out what P-man was pinned on, and we can present these results to you now today. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot for this really great presentation. Maybe I start already with the first question. I mean, besides the fact that the P-man is such a great alternative to this sum, you know, to the sum, I like it. I mean, it's the
alternative is
but my question would be that, in a way, the one thing what you are doing is a sort of archaeological work, right? But when I understand also the animate or the presentation there, so you are using that also for own artworks. So it's not only this archaeological interest in seeing what was done, but also like a remix, like a collage or whatsoever. So.
Yeah, one thing of it is to popularize it, to put it sometimes on the big screen, on the 3 projection. Imagine, did P-man ever dream to be shown on 3 projections? Yeah. Another is there is no other way, because Dragan and me, we are both artists. Maybe we don't know how else to deliver our research, results of our research, and we worked with amateur web culture since started already in 2000. Yeah, when I started to teach, when I understood that, but it's another story. But already since 2000, all my artistic work actually online is about the amateur web. So yeah, this is what I do. Was it a critique or was it curiosity? Or you want to encourage me to make more?
No, but it's a difference if if you preserve all this material and analyze it, if you do this more from a perspective of media history, media ecology, or if it's also about doing something with it. I mean, this is just another approach.
No, there is no contradiction. I approach it not from media history, but I insist on writing web history as a history of user production. And this is like my role. This is what I do and what I insist, what I contribute to writing of the web histories, because finally it now started. And there is a big confusion in this field. What else did I want to say? I think I answered your question.
Just to ask some more about the last statement, that you say you're interested, or you feel like you have the task to write web history from the perspective of users. Can you say a bit more about that? Why that is necessary and why you think that's your task?
Because I think it is necessary, because these pages in the history, you can also say web pages of the history, they were mercilessly deleted. Yeah? And I think that the history of the web, starting from the history of self-expression on web, was rewritten, starting from 1997 with the appearance of professional web designers online. So it is a very important thing, and why I see it as my mission, because I already acquired, I think, a lot of material, a lot of knowledge in this, and like I'm contributing to what others also do it. I'm not involved in any, though of course you will not believe it now, in any nostalgic activities, or design. Don't see it as that we should make now everything with under construction sign and animated GIFs. But still, students know that to please me, you have to show to me something on the star background. Then it will. At least the draft should be with the Sternchen in the background, and I will be more loyal to the production. Yeah. So you've seen all the addresses, yeah? You know where to look for more links, and you know where Tumblr is. Should I vanish?
No, please don't vanish. Well, if there are not at the moment any more urgent questions or comments, I would suggest that we directly continue with Imke's contribution. So we have
5 minutes.
Well, 5 minutes, but don't go too far. Because we have 2 more lectures.